What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so this is the situation we have right here. Ian made landfall in Cuba last night as a high-end Category 3 hurricane with winds of 125 miles per hour. It has since weakened down to 115 miles per hour, but it is still a major hurricane and is expected to re-strengthen and then some up to Category 4 strength with winds of 140 miles per hour as it approaches Florida. We have the latest public advisory right here. And we have the latest cone right here, ladies and gentlemen. Hurricane warnings for a decent chunk of Florida right here, including Tampa Bay, Sarasota, and Cape Coral right there. So if you're in these areas, you need to take this very seriously. If you're in the Tampa area, if you're in Sarasota, you need to evacuate because this is expected to make landfall as a major hurricane. It was expected to make landfall as first as a Category 1 hurricane near the Panhandle, and then a Cat 2 near Tampa Bay. Now the cone shifted a little more to the south with landfall. It's expected to make landfall near Sarasota, but it's expected to do so as a major hurricane. So everyone needs to take this very seriously. And to make matters worse, this is going to be a very slow-moving system, which the winds will weaken and everything like that offshore due to the wind shear that's going to be impacting it. But another thing that will happen is it'll enhance that flood threat that is so deadly, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the state of Florida. This is one of the most populated states in America. So that could cause a lot of significant issues. So if you're in the hurricane-warned area and if you are being ordered to evacuate. If you're in Sarasota, it would probably be best if you left because this is where the hurricane is expected to make landfall, and I would not stay there, honestly. And pretty much almost the entire state of Florida is either under a hurricane warning, tropical storm warning, or tropical storm watch. Basically, any type of tropical alert at this point. And we have tropical storm warnings as far north as Georgia right there, and we have tropical storm watches for parts of South Carolina. So everyone needs to take this very seriously. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go to the public advisory. The pressure bottomed out at 950 millibars earlier this morning. It's now gone back up to 963 millibars right there. 35 miles as the tropical hurricane force winds, and 140 miles now as the tropical storm force winds. 115 miles per hour. And this is the storm surge we're looking at. Middle of Long Beach, Key, and Bonita Beach, including Charlotte Harbor. 8 to 12 feet of storm surge. That is life-threatening. That's basically life-threatening right there. In fact, a lot of this storm surge is life-threatening. From Bonita Beach to if I pronounce this wrong, I am sorry, but Chocos Cay, 5 to 8 feet right there. Alcolti River to the middle of Longboat Key, including Tampa Bay, 5 to 8 feet of storm surge is expected right there. 4 to 6 feet from the Swanee River. In fact, I'm going to see if we can pull up that storm surge graphic around you. Yes, we can pull up that the storm surge watch and storm surge warning, storm surge ignition. This is it right here. This is basically the amount of storm surge we are expecting at this point. As you can see, we're looking at 8 to 12, greater than 9 feet, about around Port Charlotte, Cape Coral, that area right there. Tampa area, 5 to 8 feet, as you can see. This is a very important graphic the NHC has added, and I do appreciate them putting this on there, especially for this hurricane season. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the track models and the intensity. The track models earlier today had this thing making landfall in Tampa Bay. They have since shifted more towards the south near Sarasota, but that does not excuse what's going to happen with Tampa because they're likely going to see hurricane force winds with this, especially as this thing re-strengthens to what it will become. So that's what we're looking at with the track models. Intensity models, majority of them have it at Category 4 strength right here, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my estimate of max peak is between 120 and 140 miles per hour. I'm still holding off on that. We've already reached our first peak at 125 miles per hour, and it's expected to re-strengthen and then some in the Gulf of Mexico before that wind shear starts impacting it. We have hurricane hunters currently out in the storm right now. They found that pressure of 963. They found those winds of 115 miles per hour. So the landfall in Cuba didn't do that much to Ian. In fact, I've said this before, and I will say this again, that landfall in Cuba was a net positive because the wind field expanded, the eye wall expanded a considerable amount. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at right there. We're going to go ahead and show you some of the model runs right there. We have the H-Wharf, H-Mon, and GFS we're going to show you. We're going to start with the H-Wharf today. The H-Wharf was initiated a little late, around, this was the 6Z run. The 12Z run isn't exactly out yet, but this was initiated. And this was one of those runs I was talking to you about where it was making a landfall in Tampa Bay. It's shifted more towards the south since then. But basically, the strength this was making landfall was basically high-end Category 3 strength according to the H-Wharf right there. So, and then this thing starts slowly moving inland and then into Georgia right there. Brings tropical storm force winds to south in North Carolina right there, and eventually kind of dissipates, and that's the last we'll hear of that. We'll go ahead and show you the H-Mon model right here. This is the 6Z. This made landfall in Cuba last night. It then makes a turn kind of towards Sarasota right there, kind of what we were expecting from the other models right there. It makes landfall likely at around high-end Category 3, maybe low-end Category 4 strength right there. Even still, Tampa Bay is going to get hit hard by this. St. Petersburg is going to get hard. Tampa is going to get hard by this. Hit hard by this. So everyone needs to take this seriously. This thing moves inland, weakens due to land interaction, moves out to sea, kind of re-strengthens a little bit, and then makes landfall in South Carolina. It moves into the Carolinas, into Virginia, Pennsylvania, and kind of dissipates from there. And that's the last we will hear of that. And then lastly, we'll take a look at is the GFS system right here. The GFS run had this making landfall in Cuba, kind of moving in once again, and actually making landfall a little bit more to the south, actually. Kind of around Sarasota, in between Sarasota and Cape Coral, that area right there. So that's what we're looking at right there. This kind of stalls out essentially as these models are anticipating, moves over land quite slowly, kind of dissipates, and that's the last we will hear of that. So the key takeaway I want everyone to take away from this is, if you are in a hurricane warning under an evacuation order, evacuate. They are issued for a reason. Pinellas County now has zones B and C under mandatory evacuation. The voluntary evacuation is still for Hillsborough County zone B. Mandatory is still in effect for zone A. Actually, I'm not sure if they extended it to Zone B, the mandatory evacuation. I'll have to look more into that. But either way, if you're in Zone B, you should evacuate. So with that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. The goal of the channel is to get more people engaged with weather. If you're in Florida, take this situation very seriously. And most importantly, stay safe.